Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel. I am the Gecko Man, and today I'm going to be bringing another The City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and in this one we'll be covering off the Ealdnarche Lufenia that appeared in the global version of the game recently. So this particular fight is against the aloof horn, which is a variation of the kind of rhinoceros beetles that we've had before in one of the Abyss chapters that we had. So this particular boss is pretty nasty. It does have immunity to, or it does absorb actually. Sorry, it absorbs holy and dark, so you won't be able to bring any of the Cecils to power through it. And it's also immune to normal paralysis. I'll get to that in a second. And it's immune to delay when the adds are there. So there is multiple ways you can actually deal with this fight to make it really easy for yourself. If you just happen to look about on YouTube or on the Dissidia database website, where you can find all the call to arms stuff, you'll find plenty of clears there on the call to arms there that include the likes of Lightning, Cloud and Kais, and I've tried it with that team, and that team makes this fight really, really easy, cheeses the fight, and makes the mechanics of the fight a non-issue. So if you're wanting to make the fight easy for yourself, you can always go with that team. The team I'm going to be using today, though, is going to be slightly different. It involves more having to deal with certain mechanics of the fight to an extent, whilst also, not making the fight way too easy. And it uses a lot of recently released characters, so if you're relatively new to the game as well, this might actually be helpful for you. So, the aloof horn itself, what will happen with the aloof horn is the orb route for this one is very, very specific, and it appears when a certain action happens with the boss, and that is when the target, the text at the top of the screen comes up saying target lock released, which is usually somewhere between 90 and 85% health, somewhere in that region. And then the orb will appear, and it has like a 15 count on it. It disappears at 49% health, and then I don't think it's an issue after that. You just need to kind of survive the rest of the fight. The orb requirement for this one is really, really simple actually. All you need to do is make sure the enemy has less than 10,000 brave accumulated, and the orb will go up by one stage. I think up to a total of 20, I think. So yeah, certain things that you need to watch out from this fight is absolutely the recast. You want to stop that going off at any possible chance, because it is very deadly. So much so that it can wipe out your team, or it can even just single target attacks. Certain single target attacks later on in the fight can be really deadly. So you really want to be careful about letting the boss get a turn later on in the fight, because there's a good chance that you might die and then have to do a restart. So just bear that in mind. Bosses do get a shield when they hit 49% HP, and it is a buff that they get. So if you can stop them from getting the buff on, then you save yourself a problem with dealing with that particular mechanic, because it's a 150,000 shield, and it also gets like 999% brave damage reduction. So if you can avoid getting those buffs on in the first place, you're just going to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of problems. There's various ways to do that. You can either fill it up with frame debuffs, dispel the buffs themselves, or just stop the buffs from being a thing. So yeah, I mean, as I say, you can either make the fight really hard, really easy for yourself by bringing in lightning. She seems to be a really favourite in this fight. Or you can do what I'm going to do, which is show you how you can use a team that actually makes the fight a little bit more interesting. So we'll go over to my video just now, and I'll take you through it. See you over there in a sec, guys. Okay, but guys, here we are, we're back. So this is the team that I'm going to be using. So it's Eald'narche, Squall, I was about to say Cloud, Squall, and Aerith. Now, one thing I want to stress about this is that the team choice I've made here is incredibly specific. Every single thing there that you see is chosen for a reason. From there being the RCL call to the Onion Knight friend. Everything there is very specific. So if you're going to go with this team, I would suggest maybe going with this. I mean, you can try other things. I'm sure other things work. I just found that with pushing out damage towards near the end of the fight and trying to save Eald'narche's skills, that Onion Knight was a really good fit for this particular fight. So we'll get into the video now, and I'll just take you through all the video. It's very well, at the start of it is very fast paced, so I might fall behind, but you'll get the idea. So let's do that. Here we go. Let's get going. Okay, so we get Aerith going off first. Start off with Seal Evil. Seal Evil stops the enemy from getting buffs and stops you from getting debuffs. That is a very big key for stopping the shield later on in the fight. And Squall is actually really good in this fight because, you know, pretty much all of his kit revolves around some form of AoE damage. And there's 3 bosses, there's 3 enemies here, so you're just constantly doing major damage. So I noticed that the boss was targeting Squall here, and I thought that's good. That is very good, because I want Squall to lose some health because we have Odin as our summon. And as I said, I chose this team very specifically, down to the very last detail. Odin I wanted as a summon because once your character's health is below 80%, they get a 15% attack increase. So that is why it was quite good to have Squall targeted by the boss very early in the fight, because it almost always goes for a HP attack if it's got Brave. So it targeted Squall, he survives the attack. I can heal it off with Aerith later on. So yeah, I wasn't overly concerned about losing health at that point because I knew I was going to get it back and I was going to benefit from it. So the enemy, the boss now has the recast up here. I can get in one more turn here with Eald'narche because I want to get off the skill 2s as much as I can before moving into the phase shift for Eald'narche. Just so we can try and churn out as much damage out here earlier on in the fight without risking our skill uses later. So when it comes to Eald'narche's turn, I use Arciela's Dissension to put on HP attack disable, just so I've got a few extra turns to churn out more skill 2s from Eald'narche. So they break. There is a lot of breaking in this. Seal Evil is actually really handy for this fight as well, because when the actual follow-up attack goes off, it provides bravery for the team as well. So there we go, we're getting health back as well through the Fury brand there as well. I don't actually think I actually use any of Aerith's skills throughout this fight because you don't really need to. most of her stuff is covered inside her LD, so with the stuff that you don't need. Yeah, when Aerith has got low bravery and Seal Evil is active, you kind of want to use Brave Attack just to get it back up, because she doesn't lose a bravery when the follow-up attack goes off, so it's ideal. I go Rough Divide here because the Rough Divide counter was getting a little bit low, so I just wanted to top it up. And I do believe this kills the ads anyway, which is quite handy. So there you go, there's the special countdown has appeared. It's because I took off a whole heap ton of HP there. It was at 80% there that time, but I think that's just because of the amount of damage that was ensued on it. So it can't use HP attacks. I think that was the last turn of the HP silence. So I was looking at the turn order there, I was like, oh, I need Eald'narche to get in our turn, let's use Cloud to delay the enemy, because when there's no ads, Cloud can delay. So that gives me a chance to get Eald'narche in, so we can get another chance to get on the phase shift, because the phase shift will be next. Now the enemy could have been broken here. I could at this point here I could have probably went for another Uranus Cascade, because Eald'narche would have had another turn, but I just decided I wanted to go aggressive from this point on. It seemed like a good time to, you know, get the fight moving on. The enemy's below 80% health. I thought this is probably a good time to do stuff like that. There is a little bit of pausing in this fight. I was doing family stuff, you know. Got kids to feed and all that. I was getting lunches prepared, so there is a little bit of pausing. So I apologise for that. Just real life issues, you know. So we go to the Fury Brand here. That heals up Squall as well a little bit more. We get a launch off it as well, which is very handy. Launches are always very handy. At low brave, so I decided to go with the Ranger Cooking just for full HP damage across the board there. Low brave here. So again, just the Renzo Cooking. Just for that full HP damage across the board again. And of course, Vortex is up here, so typically whenever that's up, you kind of want to use it. Unless you want to use his C65 to increase the debuff length before it, which isn't a bad strategy either. It just means you get more turns out of the debuff, so, which is where Eald'narche's LD becomes quite critical. So we use a second of 4 Seal Evils there, because I figure this should last until the boss gets below the 49% range, which will stop the shield and the brave damage reduction from coming into play. This is why a lot of people use Aerith in this fight, is because she can just shut down a lot of the nonsense that this boss throws at you. So just having her there, doing her stuff, just saves you a lot of headaches. So go with the Eald'narche LD, just because why not, you know? It's a triple HP dump, so yeah. Not the strongest of triple HP dumps, but it's decent. And it gives Eald'narche the Exceed Lance buff which we got early in Global, which is nice, because that originally didn't release in the Japanese version of the game until Eald'narche's burst came along. So that's a nice little bonus at this particular avenue of the game. So yeah, it was nice that they kind of decided to add in that buff early for us. we use the Uranus Cascade. That gives us 4 turns of warp. And of course warp is very nice. We get the Fury Brand going here again. It gives Team Brave, heals Squall up to full HP, and the Seal Eagle does its thing as well. We get the warp there as well because the enemy couldn't attack us, thanks to Terror. I was pretty much just thinking there, who will I HP attack here? The other ones have got Brave, but I kind of just want to do damage on the boss, so yeah, the boss is getting it. Because I can use Solid Barrel to break both those enemies and get a nice little, Brave boost out of it. Because of the break bonus. Yeah, mostly when you've got Eald'narche's warp attack, typically you want to go for HP attacks. It's all 3 turns anyway. You'll see the turn count doesn't go up from the manipulated turns because of warp. That could have hurt the swing dive. Thankfully it missed. So that wasn't bad. you got to take what you can get from the game sometimes. If the enemy misses, take that as a win. Go with that Stellar Burst. That is, provides a moderate speed down buff. Or speed down debuff, sorry. At that point there, I was considering using the Onion Knight Friend to give to use the LD, but I just kind of thought those 2 enemies and they were dead, we'll just kill them. No point in using it at that point, really. It just seemed quite wasteful. Now you can see that the boss is getting quite close to the 49% HP threshold. That's kind of why I'm checking the buffs, because I wasn't sure if she still had Seal Evil on, but she does. She's still got 3 turns of it. Has Aerith. So I figure that's probably enough to get the boss down below the threshold, just as I kind of worked out earlier on. So it works out quite well for me, having done it, having used the second Seal Evil when I did, because it works out nicely. So we get a launch here as well. Seal Evil launches, and yeah, we just do the HP attacks because, I mean, why not? That's extra damage to get the enemy towards that threshold. Still 2 turns of Seal Evil, so yeah. So it's at this point I go for it, because I decide the boss will probably be summoning the ads when it gets below the threshold anyway, because I'm pretty sure it does. And we get a free skill turn out of this, so I just go with the Renzo cooking just for the damage. There we go. There's the ads back now. 3 turns of a Mega Javelin for the warp. Of course, I did have a free skill juice there for Aerith, but I just decided, nah. I actually don't think I used any of Aerith's skills in this fight at all, because I just don't need to. So that's the orb gone, so we don't need to worry about the orb anymore. See, the orb the orb in this fight. If you just shut them down with something that stops them from attacking, it's never really a big issue. Also there, that was the boss just deciding to change targets just to mess with me. But he's now back to an all attack, so the terror will work fine now. That gets us that gets the speed debuff on again because the ads were missing it. Now I decide is the right time to pull out the Onion Knight Friend. Now the Onion Knight Friend's burst here doesn't do great damage, but that's not the intention. The intention is to have the burst effect active when I use Squall's burst. So we go with the Blizzard enchant, and then with the sword and sorcery. I think I pull through the Ealdnarche first. Yeah. Just again, just so I can get that extra skill, turn it in. And just look at the amount of damage the Onion Knight can do. It's scary. And here we go with Squall. We just go straight in. No, I use the Blizzard combo because that provides an attack buff for Squall for 6 turns from the call ability. Now we go into the burst phase with a free skill use, which is what I wanted, because then I don't need to rely on having to use a HP attack at some point in this fight. We can just stick to completely using skills. So I use one of the free skills, then into Rough Divide, and then it's all skills from here. Put your numbers in chat now for how much damage you think is going to come out of this burst phase. Is it going to be, is it going to be 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million? You make your guesses. We'll see who's right. So yeah, I say we can just go absolutely ham with skills here. And then when we use Blasting Zone, literally when he does that first animation, there you go. That's him capped on bravery. He's capped on HP damage. Can't go any higher. All 3 of them take that. And there we go, 3.16 million. So from here on out, it is just a case of pushing for the kill. I want to stop this enemy from attacking, so I go with just a normal C65 there instead of a free skill for Ealdnarche, just so I can get 4 turns of terror. Just that on previous runs I've tried with this fight, I got really punished for not having that. And in some occasions there was nothing actually I could do about it, because the boss just decided to single target someone else. Specifically in one of my runs, Squall. After using the burst just like right now, and just single target HP attack and kill them outright from full health. So when I said earlier on this boss can be deadly at low health with single target attacks, that's why. It is incredibly dangerous. So you just need to be aware of that. It can ruin your run. There's a bit of luck involved if it decides just to outright single out someone. But so far we've been okay in this particular instance. And on another run I did of this, the Onion Knight Friend died right after the Squall burst, so this one actually worked out really well. And at this point, as I was just kind of saying, we're chasing for the kill now. The ads are spawning back here, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm actually quite glad to spawn back, because now it gives me an excuse to use Exceedlance Plus. Because that just does helps churn out just that little bit more damage because of the extra brave hits on the group targets. And again, because of the free skill use it on the C65, because yeah, why not? I mean, it gives you 4 turns of adding extra 2 extra turns to your debuffs. So yeah. And with the Onion Knight friend, all we're really doing with him throughout this fight is, you know, burst, C65, and then LD all the way until he goes away, because that's all you really need the Onion Knight friend for, because that provides lots of extra turns for, most importantly, Eald'narche. As I said before, Eald'narche does have some very, very low skill uses. Or you go through them quite quickly, is what I mean. So having an Onion Knight friend who can increase Eald'narche's longevity is for me very important. It was specifically why I wanted an Onion Knight friend for this fight, with this team composition. And again, as I said, going straight for the kill. We're not even messing about. We're just hitting we're hitting the boss with everything. The boss is the one getting singled out here. So we assault trigger, because I think we're still benefiting from the Onion Knight burst. We are. So we're doing that a little bit extra, you know, brave hits and HP damage each turn. Again, another reason why I wanted the Onion Knight friend, because of the burst effect. The burst effect is really powerful. So if you can get someone who's got a burst, an Onion Knight burst, I feel that's really, really helpful for us. If you decide to go with this team. So now we use our summon just so we can work on finishing off this fight. Aerith comes back. She was away for a long time there, wasn't she? It just seemed like it was away for a long time, because she went away when the boss had just under 50% health and came back when he's got like 8% health. That's just how much damage has just been churned out since she was away for the 5 Onion Knight turns. It's crazy. I mean, the amount of damage that both the Onion Knight friend and Squall can just push out is just incredible. Eald'narche just helps out with doing this thing, you know. He just keeps us all alive by stopping the enemy from doing any nonsense. Decide I'm at the end of the fight here, so just go with the finishing touch. I mean, why not? We're still inside the summon, so I decided to use it then, just so we can benefit from the boosts that you get from that. Use the Fury Brand because HP attack and Bravery boost, and then the Evil Bravery boost. So everything there is really, really crucial. And this is it here. This is the final hit, which is, fun enough, comes from Eald'narche. So Eald'narche spins out a vortex and kills the boss with the last hit. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's how you can do that fight with this team. Say Onion Knight friend was important, and the calls I had were very specific. So I hope that was helpful, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope to see you again next time, where we'll be covering off Arena's event. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.